Hi, my name is Naveed Safipour, and I'm a senior at Saratoga High School.
And I'm Jasmine Ta, a senior at Milpitas High School.
And we'd like to welcome you to Cover to Cover, Read This's online videocast book discussion. Every month we will be choosing a new book and discussing it here on the web. And you guys can leave your comments in response on the website to further discussion. So this month we have chosen The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger as our first book for two main reasons. First of all, it's a book that many of you either have read or will end up reading in your English classes in high school. It's generally on the curriculum. And the other reason is because it's about a teenager, which makes it very appropriate for this discussion and this website.
And so Catcher in the Rye is a few days in the life of Holden Caulfield, a 16-year-old boy who basically cuts from his boarding school and runs around New York City. And he basically finds himself there at the end.
And it takes place in the 1940s, right?
Yes, it does. So you get to have allusions to like the Rockettes and other stuff. So what do you think about Catcher in the Rye?
I think it's a very good book. I think it shows like a lot of the troubles that teenagers deal with while they're trying to grow up and figure out the world. It also is very critical of society and brings up a lot of good points. The main character, Holden, is always talking about how people are phonies and how everything is sort of fake and people aren't very sincere, and he's struggling to sort of fit in and accept that.
And he also mentions all the cursing in the book with graffiti
Yeah.
on the subways and on the bathrooms, and how that can never disappear, and I think that's extremely true today.
Yeah.
So a lot of the themes are still present today, I believe.
Yeah, even though it takes place in the 1940s. So I guess, well, what did you think of the book?
I really loved it. It's one of my favorite books of all time, mainly because of Holden, and it's basically teenage angst in a way, although it's weird to think about it. You're reading this in your honors English class.
Yeah.
So.
Did you feel like you could relate to him in a way?
I definitely could, which is a very interesting thing because all of the people, or most of the people in my honors English class couldn't relate to Holden because they saw that he was wasting his life, he cut school, he wandered around drinking beer, eating basically nothing, smoking a lot. But I could relate to Holden a lot because he talks about people being phony, what he wants to do with his life, and how he doesn't want to do something because it's expected of him. Things that we actually are facing today right now.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, even though, a really key thing about this book is even though it takes place in the 1940s, in every era, teens have had to deal with this, kind of all these issues about what's expected of them as an adult and trying to fit in with that. And the thing is, up until this book came out, there wasn't really anything talking about that much. It was sort of like, in that way, a milestone. I think that's one thing that makes the book especially appealing to a lot of people.
And it's, even if you don't really can relate to it now, I think when you're older, if you reread it, you could catch.
Actually, that's exactly what happened to me. I initially read this book in 8th grade, and when I was reading everything Holden was saying, it came across as just sort of hateful and lots of disdain and disgust for the world. And that kind of made me upset because, I was in 8th grade, I was 13 or 14, so I felt like he was kind of misrepresenting teenagers and young people as sort of just like hateful brats. But then I reread this for this videocast, and I found like all the hate, what I thought was hate, was actually really strong cynicism towards life and sort of disgust with what the world's become. And that's something that, as I've grown older, I've sort of been able to recognize. I don't think, like, when I was in 8th grade, that level of cynicism existed among any of my friends or anything, but now I can think of some people in high school with me who are very much like Holden, both guys and girls, so.
And again, it's kind of teenage angst, but this book helps you through it, especially the realization at the end.
Yeah.
Where you can't exactly save yourself from adulthood, it'll eventually happen.
Yeah. I don't know, I kind of felt the ending, actually. That was the one thing that kind of bothered me about it. It doesn't really clearly state the ending, you know, or comes to a real dramatic conclusion. It just sort of ends with him at the carousel watching his sister.
I like it though because it's raining, so you could imagine it's like purity. Yeah. And then he's watching his little sister Phoebe, who he's always been trying to protect her from adulthood, making sure that she's pure. And he realizes he can't do that anymore. So I actually like the ending.
I guess. I was just expecting something more dramatic and a real huge epiphany towards the end where it just sort of is him thinking about.
But you did like the book, right?
Oh yeah, I still definitely like the book. I really would recommend it to anybody. And in some ways it's kind of a shame that it's always brought up in English classes because nobody reads it on their own and enjoys it for themselves.
That is true, because once you read it in English, it kind of pulls you off, right?
Yeah.
But what do you think is the actual appeal of the book? Why has it lasted all these years?
Well, because everybody at some point is a teenager, and everybody at some point has to go through a phase where they're trying to figure out who am I going to be as an adult instead of who am I going to be as a child. And that's what's really going on with Holden. He's slowly moving into adulthood and recognizing that he's going to have to, perhaps one day, unfortunately, become a phony in some ways.
Well, I don't think he'd actually become a phony.
Well, no, what he perceives is just a phony, you know.
Somewhat, I guess.
Yeah.
But the appeal to me was mainly Holden, because I could relate to him so much, and then all the stuff that he brings up, it was just eye-opening, because that's exactly how I feel, how I think, and to have it in words, it was like, I'm not alone in the world.
Yeah. I definitely felt that way too. Okay, so I guess that wraps up our discussion of Catcher in the Rye. Feel free to post your own comments, like I said earlier, on the website.
And for next month, our book we'll be discussing is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. And it's one of my favorite books, so make sure to check it out.
I haven't read it before at all.
Which should be interesting.
Yeah. Could you just quickly summarize it?
It's about Bella Swan who moves to a new town where it's all rainy, and she meets basically vampires. And they have superhuman powers. She falls in love with one of them.
Is this a romance novel?
It is. It's heavy in the romance, but for all you guys out there, there is action, okay? Like, this killer vampire comes and tries to stalk Bella.
Okay, hopefully
So
that'll make up for all the sappy scenes.
It's a really great book, so make sure to check it out, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.